Testing. Day 3. Podcast number 3. Mayweather, Logan Paul. It was a workout today. There was a what is it called? Media workout? That's what it is. The media workout. And this was going to be a really important night to me, I think, to selling this fight. It was going to be how Logan Paul looked in the media workout. I think today I'm going to dive into I'll dive into media workout, what I think of it. And then I'm going to dive into attack this from all angles. I'm going to attack what Logan can do to win the fight. Like what him winning the fight would look like. Right, but let's just look at some of these workouts here. So he's got him jumping rope, which is a common theme. You'll notice a lot of these pre-hype videos is him jumping rope, because jumping rope is, it's something, I guess it's like boxing theme. If you notice in movies, it's always a jump rope scene. Like in every boxing movie, there's a jump rope scene, right? And it's easier than throwing punches. It really is. Throwing punches technically well, right? This is easier than that. So jumping rope, it's a good thing to, look, he kind of looks like a boxer, and he wore this, stupid outfit. Let's go here. This is him shadow boxing. So let's pull this back a little bit. Let me mute this real quick. These are all arm punches. It looks like he's punching underwater always. Looks like there's some kind of resistance where he can't move his body. But there isn't. He's just not good at punching. This isn't gonna work. You know what I mean? None of this, technique wise, is not gonna work. There's not gonna be a technical aspect to where Floyd struggles with him. There just isn't. There's just not gonna be that. Yeah, see, look at it. It's like underwater punching. He showed up, and he said, "See him hit the pads," which is pretty bad. He's an arm puncher. He's punching from his arm. Now I do remember him saying he does a lot of everything he does is he's athletic, but he does it in unathletic ways, I guess. That's what he was saying. And that happens. There's a lot of guys that do that. There's fighters that, there's fighters that just do things awkwardly. That no one would ever teach it or anything like that, but they're still good. Look at Maidana, the way he punches, right? Look at, there's a bunch of guys that just, they do things that aren't the way you would teach it, right? But they get the right trainer and they teach them, they use that technique and they master their own technique and their own body, the way their body works. So, I'm not saying that this couldn't eventually, I don't think he could, but I'm not saying someone's not going to punch like this. If you look at Calzaghe, the way he punches, right? Calzaghe, you wouldn't teach anyone to punch like Calzaghe. Calzaghe slaps with his punches. He literally swipes at you with his shots. But that goes with superior movement and, leg positioning and a lot of things that Calzaghe had. This is just, to me, more important thing is just how slow and stiff this looks, and the jerky motion and all the wasted motion he has. And it's just looks like a guy that just, boxes on a Saturday. That's what it looks like. And I understand that he takes a focus and he's in shape. He's coming to fight. There's no doubt about that. I'm not taking that away from him. I could give him that. But this just isn't correct. It's not the correct technique. And it's not, there's nothing in here that wows me. And I'm oh my God, this guy's, a prodigy to boxing. Because that's what it would take, right? If that's how he has the weight advantage, he would have to be a prodigy. He would be oh, look, he's picking up things that no one picks up in 2 years, right? And that's not what we're seeing here. And they released sparring footage that was very edited, and it was also looked like guys that were kind of moving around with him. And then he did hurt a guy that was 50 pounds lighter than him, right? And I understand, because you're saying, well, he's fighting Floyd, who's 50 pounds lighter than him. That's I understand that point, but that guy wasn't Floyd, obviously, and the guy movement wasn't great. If I could just watch it, anyone watched it, right, they would know. Another interesting tidbit that came out today was the rules of the set, and these are 12-ounce gloves, right? And I know that people would probably think that favors Floyd. I don't think that favors Floyd. I think that favors Logan. I was thinking about that. I was surprised. I think that everybody gets nervous, the commissions and all that are starting to get nervous as the fight gets closer and you start getting these weird rules, right? But I think that's why those gloves favor Logan, because there's no chance that Logan wins this fight decision wise, and also they're not even doing a decision. They're not even gonna announce a winner, right? Because they don't think that here's a chance that he wins a decision, right? There are knockouts because, well, that's a stupid thing to say. Like, of course there are knockouts. Who could stop it? You know what I mean? Like, how do you stop a knockout? There's no knockouts this fight, so don't worry about that. That's not going to happen. But are two guys still going to be swinging at each other? Yes, but there's no knockouts. We made that illegal. But with the 12-ounce gloves, right, that to me that favors Logan because he's already bigger. Like, he's already the bigger guy. So he's going to be able to take shots better than other guys that Floyd has fought. And with 12-ounce gloves, he's going to be able to take, the more padding on the gloves, the heavier the glove is going to take off some power from Floyd. So to me, that favors Logan to at least try to survive this fight because there's no chance he's going to win decision or outbox Floyd or anything like that. But maybe he could survive, right? Maybe he can go 8 rounds with Floyd Mayweather, and that'll be the accomplishment. I don't think Floyd wants that to happen, but 12-ounce gloves really helps that, that to happen. I'm also curious, like, on how the betting works for this because, okay, so you bet Floyd to win, he has to win by knockout, I'm guessing. So there's really no risk to you because Logan's not going to knock out Floyd. So then there's no risk to you. Like, everyone should be throwing their money at this fight because it's basically Floyd wins by knockout or there's no decision can be read. So then it just, nothing happens. I don't know. Yeah, this is bad. This is really bad. Let's see here. Is there anything else? Yeah, I don't know. Those things for that training thing, that's, that is what it is, right? So what can Logan do? Like, how does it look if Logan wins this fight? And I was thinking about it, and he said something that, is smart. Like, why we're gonna find out why we have weight classes, and it's true. There's a reason why we have weight classes. So I was thinking, like, he's not gonna hit Floyd clean, like flush. He doesn't have the skill, speed, technique to do that, right? But with his weight and his size, can he hurt Floyd by hitting him still just on the arms? Like Floyd blocking a shot on his arms. Could he have enough power to hurt Floyd with that? No, I haven't seen that. Nothing shows me that, right? Nothing at all shows me that. He has never showed that kind of power. But Floyd's smaller man, right? So he would have to somehow get Floyd against the ropes, right? He would have to, I would say, muscle him against the ropes. So at some point, like, this is the technique that you would hear like a lot of MMA guys would come up with if like Floyd was fighting Khabib. This would be like the technique, right? This would be like a classic Robin Black technique. It's close to the Robin Black special, the Faraz Sahabi special, right? It's like you clinch with them and like this is the argument. This is exactly what an MMA guy would say, right? Is that he would have the clinch. That Floyd's not going to be comfortable in a clinch. And this is a bigger man. He's going to weigh on you. And Floyd's going to get tired from all that weight on him. And then he's going to start wearing him down. And once he starts wearing him down, then he's going to start ripping shots to him. And Floyd's going to be too tired because he's not used to that kind of fight. And he doesn't have to box. He has to do a form of boxing. He has to apply his techniques to that form. That's what they would say, right? And they're not like simplicity. That's not necessarily wrong, right? The problem is that that's like, you're saying that without ever doing it, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, no one, when they say stuff like that, right, they're saying that throughout the, however many years boxing's been around, forever, right, since boxing's been around, then no one has thought of doing that in a sport that pays millions of dollars. Like, no one has been in the gym and said, well, what if I just wrestle these guys and hold them against the ropes and then start smothering them? Well, we've had that, right? Like, we've already had that technique. This has already been tried. Every technique that they think that they're trying has been tried because the sport's been around forever and it's paid good money. So no guy was in kickboxing or wrestling or jiu-jitsu or karate all these years and in a sport that doesn't make any money and then decided, oh, but I could have easily beat all these boxers because I have a technique that they're not used to, and didn't come over. They would have did that. They would have came over and they would have won. And they would have won the title and got a bunch of money. There's a reason why it didn't work, because all these boxers have seen all this, right? They've seen all these styles. And the style they're describing, right, like it's a pressure style. It's a style that's evolved, right? Well, because someone probably did try that, right? Held and thing, and then someone got better at it. Someone found a defensive way to do it, and then someone else came back with it, but with a different technique to it, right? Probably more like, I'm sure it evolved to more like what, Frazier did to Ali, right? Where he's putting pressure on you, but he's also allowing his arms to be free so he could work on you, right? If you look at Jarrett Hurd, who's actually fighting on the card, is he puts that kind of pressure on you. He's a bigger man. He puts pressure on you, and he hits you with little shots, right? And he's constant pressure. He's constant waiting on you, but he's not wrestling you, right? And he actually knows the technique to throw the punches in that tight area, because you would have to know how to throw punches in tight area. It's actually harder to throw punches in a tight area, right, than it is from a distance. It actually takes more movement. And Floyd Mayweather happens to be really good at it. And also Conor McGregor tried to use this, and he was far less superior in the clinch, in the boxing, to Floyd Mayweather than everyone thought he was going to be, right? But let's say Logan Paul's bigger, right? So Logan Paul's going to try to pressure him against the thing. But he's like, you can't just hold him, right? You're not going to just be hold him and then you wear him. It's not going to happen. Okay, it's just not going to happen. If you go look at his sparring sessions, they're all up close. He lets the guys all in on him and hold on him. It happens all the time, and he works on the inside. He's very comfortable in that. It's not going to happen. But maybe you can push him against the thing, and then you can just wail overhand right hands, overhand lefts, try to come up his guard, right? And maybe you can, with that kind of pressure and the size of him and where the shots are coming from, because you could get all his leverage coming down because Floyd's shorter than him, right? All the power is going to come down. Everything I would be thinking was like overhand, right? And I'd be looking to where the one thing that they might be correcting, because when Logan did fight and hurt KSI, it was when he held him and hit him. He held him with the back of his head and hit him with the uppercut, right? That was the one time he hurt him. So Logan's got to look to somewhat cheat in this fight, you know what I mean, to see what he can get away with. And just it's going to be mostly pushing him back, you know what I mean, trying to push him back physically, and just when you get that, just going wild with overhand rights, uppercuts, and everything to the head. You're not going to hurt him to the body, and I think you're going to leave too much of an opening. It's just wild, and everything you hit him with, you fall back in, and you hold and don't allow him to get off, right? Because I think if Floyd hits you enough, eventually he's going to break your face. I don't know if he can knock him out. That's going to be the interesting thing, is Floyd has the power to knock out a man this big. Even with the far superior technique and everything like that, there is still a size difference, right? But if he starts landing clean on you, your face is going to fall apart. And that's how I picture this fight ending in my head, is Logan's face is just falling apart by like the third round. But the only way he has here is to put himself, me and my friends always say this. It's like the quote we always say, like on the Star Wars, right? Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin are throwing down, and Anakin's all pissed. And then Obi says, don't do it, I have the high ground, right? Don't do it, Anakin, I have the high ground. That's what Logan Paul's got to put him in. He's got to put him in a position where he has some kind of like advantage position-wise. And I would think on the inside, right, where Floyd Mayweather probably still going to chop him up, right, that Logan could at least push him against the ropes. Be big, push him, overhand right, and just hope that Floyd's going to block it, but hope that the size and the strength and everything is still capable of hurting him in that, or put him in an uncomfortable situation. That's the only the thing he has. Now, if he goes and he tries to box and jab, well, then he's just going to hit Floyd in the gloves. Floyd's going to walk him down, allow him to hit on the gloves, and then Floyd's going to start teeing off on him. That's just what's going to happen. There's only, the thing of this, he's going to have to literally brawl. Like literally when they say a puncher's chance, this is literally what they mean. I hate when they say puncher's chance in boxing and it's like a professional fighter. I'm like, no, he has more than a puncher's chance. He has, okay, look at Deontay Wilder, right, fighting Fury. And people are saying, he has a puncher's chance. It's like, no, Deontay Wilder is a world champion fighter. He has techniques. He has things that got him here. It wasn't just a puncher's chance against all these other fighters, right? So Logan Paul, I don't even know if he punches hard to have a puncher's chance, but that's what he's basically going in there with. Is that he's going to land a big shot that hurts Floyd through the guard. That's it. That's basically it. Other than that, he's just going to take a beating. But that's the only way. He's not going to jab him. He's not going to out-jab him. He's not going to do anything. He's got to push around. And you know what? Honestly, I don't know if they worked this in the deal or not or whatever. If Logan wanted to save some face here, right, he would look to throw Mayweather on the floor. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised that happens, right? Like he looks for a takedown or something like that, and then the rest break it up, and then they just get back to boxing, and he's just like something to say like, well, I did that to Floyd, because these guys really don't give a damn. Now, maybe I'm sure they work something in the contract. I'm sure Mayweather's probably thinking ahead of this and being like, I don't want to try nothing stupid. But I expect some stuff like this. I honestly do. And if he goes in there just looking to box, right, and just looking to try to outbox Floyd Mayweather, it's not going to happen. And if he's looking to smother him, that's not going to happen either. None of it's going to happen. I'm relaying this thing that maybe this could happen, but I mean, relaying something that, possible if he did this and, all these things lined up, it happens, but it's not going to happen. I'm telling you right now, none of it's going to happen. None of it's going to happen. The win here for Paul is if he makes a decision. That's the win for him. That's would be like, look at, I won 8 rounds with Floyd Mayweather. That's the win here. And that's going to be a tough, that's going to be a tough sledding. I don't think he can get knocked out cold. Maybe later rounds, like if Floyd Mayweather like just really been putting it on him, but I expect him to be quick with the stoppage here. And I expect, once his face starts falling apart, which I imagine it does from, a few combos from Floyd, they'd probably stop it. And I would say it's probably around the 3rd, 4th round. But who knows? Floyd, he don't give a damn. If he could generate this into more money, which I think was the Jake Paul fight, which eventually would happen. Or maybe since, there's no decision, right? So you can't lose a decision. Does he keep it close and competitive, right? Like, I'm really trying to get in Floyd's head here. I don't know. He did that with Conor. I mean, he eventually stopped him, right? But a little part of me thought, like, was Floyd, like, trying to create a rematch with him? Like, maybe I could do this twice. You know what I mean? And it just never happened. Just never gained traction. But could he do that with, like, Logan Paul, right? Can he go to decision and then people be like, well, that was kind of close, right? I don't know who won. And then they do another one. They're like, oh, we're going to have a decision this time. And it's going to be, the real deal, or whatever the hell they can do it. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past Floyd. He likes making money. He's said a lot of weird things in the build up to this fight about how he's, more about making money than all the other things, than winning, or all those things like that. He's just about making money. That'd be I don't know. Boxing does so much weird things, like so many things that, to really screw with me. I feel like boxing's just screwing with me most of the time, but we'll see. This is number 3. There will be a number 4. And there'll be a number 5. And honestly, there'll be a number 6 after it. I'm dragging it out. Thank you for listening. This has been The Win.